Hi, I'm Ashley Swartz, founder and CEO of Furious Corp. Welcome to our 12-part series on building the adaptable media enterprise. We're co-publishing this with Beet TV. So today is episode 8 in our 12-part series, and we're going to talk about shrinkage. It's not really a Seinfeld episode. Please get the image of George with a bathing suit out of your head. Shrinkage, defined by most other industries, is an allowance made for a reduction in the earnings of a business as a result of wastage or theft. Sound like ad fraud, right? Viewability, fraud, non-human traffic. It's estimated that it's going to reach $150 billion in the near future. It's second only to drug trafficking and the drug industry in regards to sort of criminal behavior. It's been likened to organized crime. So, sound familiar? That's shrinkage, right? TV doesn't have this problem, but TV companies do, because they're ever increasingly relying on channels that that are plagued and fraught with fraud as a huge business challenge. So how do media companies adapt and account for shrinkage, right? This is the big question. So I'm going to pull from a couple previous episodes. Like, this is all sort of building, right? It's adaptive. And I'm going to talk about and refer to Kaizen, right? A continuous improvement, which we talked about in episode 5. Forecasting and the importance of it, which was the episode 6. And then this construct of portfolio management that, is beyond just campaigns, but really running a business and tying it back to business KPIs across all sales channels, formats, customers, etc. That's been omnipresent in all the conversations we've had, but I'm going to really bring that home today when it comes to combating and mitigating for shrinkage, right? If you're a premium publisher, this may not be a big problem for you, right? Especially on your owned and operated properties, and most of the inventory you sell direct. I get it. But if you have the high-class problem of being oversold and look to audience extension through syndication partnerships, etc., this is an issue, right? And ultimately, it's something that you need to think about and account for and consider so that you're not left exposed financially or from a customer satisfaction perspective, right? So what do media companies need to do to adapt? So this would be silly to talk about it if we didn't have a theory or a perspective on how to actually mitigate for this risk and account for it in the organization. And most importantly, adapt the way we do business to account for this disruption, right? So we need to be quicker, faster, stronger, not just reactive, right? Kaizen. So use data to make better decisions and learn and continuously improve our decision making and inform our actions, right? So if you look at the campaign reports sooner, right? Pull them in as real time as you can. If your systems can't report on real time or your reporting process is weekly, change it. So really ensure that you don't have incredible exposure at the end of a campaign and a huge liability or make good. Get ahead of it and continuously improve when you're in flight or mid-process or midstream. I know that's easier said than done, but if you don't have real-time reporting across all of your sales channels, specifically for digital, you need to figure that out. Ultimately, this leads to the fact that if you do this and you get more runtime information around performance, you should be able to build predictive logic. And most importantly, predictive logic around the differential and the actual sort of, predicted fraud or viewability counts vis-a-vis different partners, right? One typically has a certain amount of viewability report, the other has another. We've literally talked to publishers about how much of a delta there is from one partner to another and how much that impacts revenue at the end of the day, both gross and net revenue. So start to use data to get smarter and predict, build, bring it into the system, continuously improve and learn. Account for it, right? Assure that you have enough inventory set aside for liabilities so that you can deliver make goods if you have an issue. And also, you need to work with your partners and have an open conversation. This is a problem that is shared by the entirety of the value chain. It's not just the problem of sellers, and it ultimately is not going to be relegated to be the problem of buyers. We need to figure out, specifically with programmatic, where there's more of a sort of arm's length transaction, how both sides of the equation mitigate risk, not react to it, right? This is about getting ahead of it, not just falling victim to it. Adjust your planning process, right? Specifically for direct sold inventory or things that you are actually buying and extending audience with syndication partners in-house that is not sort of programmatic, right? Use predictive insights to inform the planning process and scenario plan. Know what happens, what if scenarios, and sort of create a variance report based on if the viewability is a bigger issue, and know which of your partners are delivering, actually more sort of non-fraudulent inventory and impressions. That's critical. Know your partners and choose the ones that actually deliver. Do the work and manage a portfolio, most importantly, right? Sell across all of your platforms. You need to do that because you need to tap into as much inventory as possible. Scenario plan at a business level. Look at, for example, what is the cost of building out more owned and operated properties that you have a higher or a lower sort of percentage of fraudulent impressions delivered and potentially no fraudulent inventory delivered? What's the cost of obtaining audience on owned and operated versus using syndication partners and accounting for inventory fall off through fraud? Like, really understand your business and its sensitivities and look at it in totality, and then make decisions and actually then execute campaigns based on a bigger picture. That goes back to what we said before, the team of teams, right? It's about sort of a shared sense of consciousness within the organization and a holistic understanding of what the bigger goal is. Keep finding new ways to surprise and delight your audiences rather, to really continue to drive and retain traffic on owned and operated properties. That's critical. That's your most valuable inventory. Create new ad products. Think of, empower your team, encourage them to ideate around ad products that are more and more sort of insulated or protected from fraudulent behavior or non-human traffic. Really encourage them to differentiate. And in the short term, it may be harder to operationalize, but ultimately, if you're able to deliver with confidence, that inventory is going to be fulfilled, it might be worthwhile. But you need to plan and scenario plan and understand what the business and economic implications are. And lastly, if you have really great premium inventory, i.e. some of your traditional inventory, sell it at a higher price. Holla. Like, seriously, guys, this is what it's about. If it's illiquid or it's supply constrained or it's premium or there's a higher level of quality or confidence in the inventory, advertisers will pay more if you deliver to the expectations. It's a conversation. This is really emotional for a lot of people, and I can see that. This is a problem that our industry really needs to address, and I welcome it. Thanks so much.